When I had my triple bypass, there were lots of people in my life who tried to help me stand up, help me walk. I refused their help because to some extent I knew I could do it myself, and I did. The other aspect is you're dealing with a 60-year-old man who's been on his own for the past 55 years. And this is a brand new experience that you can't really stand up, you can't really walk, you can't really run, you can't do much of anything. So it's not a habit of mine to refuse help. But then you find yourself in a different situation, which is you're 5 or you're 6, you're 7, you go home, you ask your mom for some food, and you realize she's passed out over there. You ask your dad for some help, and you realize, well, he's hanging out with his dog and doesn't really much care for you. And so you go to the fridge and you eat some carrots. And you realize from the age 5 or 6 or 7, this is how your life is going to be. Your mom isn't there, your dad isn't there. You just got to fend for yourself. And you begin to develop this attitude that I was given a set of incompetent parents. From a very young age, I was forced to do things on my own, stand on my own 2 feet, and take care of my own self, and my own life. And so even though sometimes your parents walk forth to give you a hand in this or that, you refuse their help. And time passes, you're no longer 5 or 6, but now you're 35, 36, maybe you're 45, 46. And for the past 50 years, that's all you've been doing. And when you get into relationships, what usually happens, any kind of relationship, whether it's a friendship kind or whether it's a romantic kind, because the backdrop of who and what you are is a person who've always been independent, but not in a healthy way, because you've lost your trust and faith and love in people. So you say, I'm just going to do everything on my own. And what usually happens in relationships is that one of the ways that glues two people together is in times of crisis, when life breaks you and things are just leaking out of you, the other person is there to hold you. Your emotions, your thoughts, your fantasies, whatever the case may be. You're very, very intimate in that way. But if life has robbed you of those capacities, what usually happens is you only give yourself maybe 30% or 40% to the other person. And even though they may be very sincere, they may be very earnest in their desire to assist, you kind of just push back and you say no. And the person doesn't really know the other person. Like me, if I'm your companion, I wouldn't really know what to do. The idea of what should someone do, it's a how-to question, and the how-tos don't make sense to me. The only, I think, way you can remedy the situation, this is just my own experience, and other people can have different experiences. From the culture I come from, let's say that I'm 30 and you're 25, we meet somewhere, I like you, you like me, and after 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, you begin to disclose certain history about yourself. And I come to realize, yes, you have in fact been very independent from the age 2, which means that I can only have access to so much of you. You're going to keep most of you to yourself, to protect yourself, to make sure I don't hurt you just in case. And knowing that you're not going to trust me as much, you're not going to love me as much, you're not going to have faith in me as much, depend on me, because that's how things work, I begin to play some tricks on you. And these are calculated tricks. I invite you to the house, we clean the house together. We cook together, but we don't have sex. We clean the backyard together. And little by little, I have to make you feel at home. Not only at home physically, but at home emotionally and mentally. And little by little, you realize something, a seed is beginning to kind of be planted and sprout here and there, which is you're beginning to like me. You're beginning to like me more and more and more and more. And then from the liking, it turns into love. And love, by its sheer nature, it makes you very passive. Passive to your history, passive to fear, all the things that usually troubled you. And so you become completely open to me. Now, once in a while, you catch yourself being open and it frightens you, because now you trust me too much, you have faith in me too much. And so you give me 10 minutes of genuine story, personal story, and then you retreat. And you go back in the closet and you hide, and you say, I need to go home. Go home for what? You've been here for 2 weeks. What do you have to do at home? I gotta feed my dog. Well, the dog is probably dead. It's okay, just stay around. Say, no, I gotta go. And you're not really going for the dog, you're going because, you have no idea how I'm going to treat you 2 weeks from now, 2 hours from now, now that you've disclosed some very, very personal information. And then I call you, but you don't pick up because you want to go back to the person that you have always been, independent, untrusting, and all those things. Now, if I am familiar with human nature a little bit, if I'm familiar with human psychology a little bit, I will come knocking on your door. That's if I care for you that much and if I'm interested in you that much. I'll break the door down, I'll come in, we'll grab you by your hair, put the leash around you, drag you to my car, and we'll come home. And I say, you know, you want to hide yourself in the room? There's a back room over there. Go sit there. Don't come out. Come out when you're ready. And there comes a point where you're tired of sitting in the room all by yourself. So you come out and we cook, we clean. We don't talk very much. We're still trying to figure out why you told me all the things you told me and yet why you feel the way you feel. And so what usually happens in this scenario is that I have to be okay with your abuse. And you do it for good reasons. You do it for protective reasons. And so you play this push and pull game. You pull me towards you, then you push me out, then you pull me, then you push me. And to some extent, it's just too much that you demand, and you use me like some trash container. You keep dumping stuff in me, and then you take them out, and you dump some more stuff, then you take them out. And I have to like you enough and see a future in you to stick around. Now, the idea of how should or what should one do, there is nothing anyone can do about those things. You just have to sit back, and when the fruit is ripe, it'll just fall. But again, remember, you're dealing with habits. Habits are always very, 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 very difficult, if altogether not impossible to overcome. They're no different than being addicted to alcohol or drugs of sorts.